Hello everybody, welcome to Newsfront. We've got some MMA news coming at you today, and we'll do every Tuesday and Thursday as well. I'm Balian, so let's get on with the news. You might have seen the video that came out yesterday of Joaquin Buckley going up to Darren Till and Khamzat Chimaev backstage. It didn't happen yesterday, it actually happened at UFC 273 last week, but here's what happened.
You want to fight in July?
July? Let's fight in July.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
London?
Yeah, London.
Don't say that.
You're going to be ready?
I've been ready.
Okay.
So this actually happened right after the ceremonial weigh-in, so you can tell Khamzat's a bit antsy, hasn't eaten or drinking anything really for a couple of days. Joaquin Buckley came over, obviously looking to arrange a fight with Darren Till. Says he wasn't interested with Khamzat because he's at 170, but Darren Till apparently didn't actually know who Joaquin was.
Who's that guy?
Or at least that's what he said anyway. But you could tell Khamzat gets pretty pissed at the fact that Buckley would just come up and approach him, especially in the middle of his fight week. It's understandable. I mean, they're best friends. So that was about a week ago, and Darren Till went on Submission Radio the other day to have a little chat with the boys about what's going on, and you're probably wondering what he thought about Joaquin Buckley. It turns out he thinks, well, nothing really. Doesn't mention it, and it looks like he's completely focusing on another fight entirely. In fact, he talked about Uriah Hall being his next opponent, so that's probably the one to look for.
Be probably hard taking the Uriah Hall fight. I'm scared of Uriah Hall.
They also did bring up the return of the UFC to London, supposedly, and kind of alluded to the fact it might be in Liverpool instead. And Darren didn't say it would be, but well, he just laughed his head off, basically. So it's a yeah, I think.
We'll see.
Has the UFC?
So it may or may not be in Liverpool, but regardless, Belal Muhammad is someone who's pretty interested in the next UFC London card. Supposedly it's going to be headlined with Usman and Leon, because that makes sense, right? So Belal wants to be on the card to make sure he can be in there as a backup in case one of those guys falls out. And if you ask him, he's pretty sure Usman might not make the fight.
I don't think that Usman's fully healthy. Like he says, I know he wants to fight in July. With that hand injury, that he's going to be back in July. I think that it's going to be longer than he thinks.
So who's he going to fight? I mean, I don't know. He doesn't want to cut weight for no reason, so he definitely wants an opponent in London or Liverpool or wherever it might be. But at 170, I mean, he's nearly cleared out the division himself, but he knows he's only one more fight away from potentially getting a title shot, so he's definitely going to look for somebody.
Also, you still got the Irish Gimp that's talking about coming up to 170. I wouldn't mind slapping him around too.
Hey, perhaps he fights Conor McGregor on the undercard, who knows? So if Usman does fall out and he fights Leon, well, he said he matches up pretty well with him regardless. I think he thinks he has a weakness in his wrestling, because he seems to think Usman's going to handily take care of him as well.
I just think that Usman's wrestling is going to be too much for him, and I think it's going to be kind of like a replay of the first fight.
Is Belal good enough to beat Leon? I mean, what do you think? Speaking of 170 though, if you're a fan of fluffy hats and Shavkat Rakhmonov, he just signed a new 4-fight multi-deal with the UFC. I like fluffy hats. This is obviously coming off the back of the news that he's also been signed to fight Neil Magny, so that should be a cracker of a fight. In other news, if you haven't heard, Jon Jones is supposedly making a return this summer, and it's probably going to be against Stipe Miocic. Dana White was on TMZ talking all about it.
I'm hoping that Jon Jones is going to be a part of that lineup this summer. Stipe makes sense.
They already opened the books on it.
Yeah.
Who's the favourite?
Actually, Jon Jones is.
Jon Jones.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Minus 200.
Plus 170 for Stipe.
For Stipe? Right, okay. Interesting, very interesting. What do you think?
What do you think?
What do you think?
What do you think?
Yeah, that's not speculation. That's sounds about right. So in the same interview, Dana also completely dismissed the fact that Henry Cejudo is apparently making a return to the sport.
Cejudo's retired. Cejudo's retired. You know, talking shit on Instagram does not get you fights.
But it's not that surprising. This isn't the first time he's done this. He did it with GSP back in the day when he said he was making a comeback. And to be fair, you know, Henry Cejudo has re-entered the USADA testing pool like 5 times at this point. 5 times. A little bit cringe. But don't listen to me and don't listen to Dana. I mean, the question is, who do you believe? At the end of the day, it's probably all about the money. I mean, we've seen this a lot, especially recently. You know, Poirier's sitting around, Nate's can play, and we had the Jones and Ngannou situation last year, so cash money. So looking ahead to the rest of the week of combat sports, we've got Wednesday for the PFL, but I'm not staying up for that on UK time. Friday, the return of Bellator, another big event for them. And then on Saturday, of course, we've got another UFC. On a side note, how would you guys feel about us doing some post-fight live streams? You know, watching the event the day after? I can't stay up till 6 a.m. 3 times a week. What do you want from me? So the co-main event on Saturday was supposed to be Tanner Boser taking on the undefeated Alexander Romanov, but Boser is out, he's injured, we don't really know the details, and we don't know who's going to replace him. So we did hear a little bit from Boser earlier on in the week. He basically said he's really sorry he had to pull out. He's trying to hit 30 pro fights, but he's injured. It's not something he does often, but hopefully he can make a return soon. If you ask me though, I want to see Romanov. He's undefeated! In terms of the rest of the card, yeah, it's not really the strongest, or that usually is the case in between the pay-per-views these days. It's headlined by Andrade versus Lemos, so it should be a good fight, but yeah, stay up for that one if you want. That being said though, I mean, there's always good prospects on any card like this. Shimajuri's fighting Cup, that's a great fight to look out for, so there is a few good fights about. Clay Guida's also coming back against Air Jordan, that's a great fight right there. Unbelievably, Tyson Pedro's coming back for the first time since December 2018, I think, about 3 years. Crazy, but I mean, he might look better than ever. All right, that's it for the news, guys, for this week. Stay tuned. We're coming back on Thursday for more News Front. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.